I've removed all of my money from crypto.
I have sold my Bitcoin.
Sold all my crypto.
I sold all of my crypto.
I sold all of my Bitcoin.
I sold all my crypto.
I sold everything.
I sold everything.
I just made the decision to officially sell all of my cryptocurrency.
Panic, despair, and capitulation. To you, this might be the time to get fearful, but to me, this is the sweet tune of bullishness.
If you have a temperament that when others are fearful, you're going to get scared yourself. You are not going to make a lot of money in securities over time in all probability.
Now let's also get it out of the way. I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone that was mentioned at the beginning of the video. Maybe they have a strategy built around why they sold. And there's a lot of people trying to take advantage of the tax loophole that exists with crypto. Since they're listed as currencies, you can actually do a wash sale where you just sell them, lock in your losses, buy it back, and you can still claim that against your taxes. Of course, I'm not a tax professional, so make sure you get advice from a real one before you go ahead and do that. But when it comes to all this panic in crypto, I can't help but get more and more bullish. And if you remember when we made our content back earlier this year, we called the high of Bitcoin. I told you where it would likely end up, and we are still in that range of where we foresaw the lows. Now, we did anticipate that it could go a little bit lower, but with everything going on sentiment-wise, I can't stop thinking of the historical consistency at which people with a hive mind get all fearful and the most bearish at the lows when they should be bullish. So my confidence just keeps building and building and building. And let me be clear that a lot of these coins are definitely going to zero. I mean, most of them were just pure scams. Some are Ponzi schemes. There's no coming back, okay? I don't think that everything that's sold off is now a big opportunity. What I'm mostly looking at is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And that's because nothing has fundamentally changed at all with the actual technology. The whole reasons that everyone got bullish to begin with many years ago, people who came in as early buyers, the big investors that wanted to endorse it, nothing has actually fundamentally changed whatsoever. So just like Warren Buffett likes to say is, hey, if I like this company, the company still runs fine, and the price of it has gone down, that should just make it more and more appealing if you're thinking with an objective and non-emotional mindset. And look, as soon as that euphoria started to cave over, I started to make a lot of content saying, hey, this is gonna go a lot lower. And I tried to warn people. I'm not trying to say I told you so or kick you while you're down. I'm just trying to say, hey, selling at the low is probably not the wisest decision. Hopefully that money that you invested is not money that you need right now. And I would simply be looking to buy more, start to average in. You've got probably a few years here near the lows because I'm not expecting any quick V-shaped recovery. This is gonna be in this pain period for probably some time. But it's also really important to point out what other institutions are doing. I saw lots of the content creators when I was clipping up that intro that were saying, hey, a lot of these institutional investors got burned as well. But did they? You have to look into the deals they actually took with FTX, where FTX actually gave them a bunch of these small coins or these little pet projects that people had. They gave these investors, these big investors, a lot of the currency up front so that these investors could sell them near the top. The whole narrative that a lot of these people got burned, a lot of these big players got burned, like Kevin O'Leary got burned heavily, is not true. These guys walked away with bags of money. And that's because they got these currencies, sold them right away. Sure, they lost their investment, but I guarantee you a lot of them walked away with profits out of this whole thing. And that's the real reason why you see people like Kevin O'Leary still backing up Sam Bankman-Fried, saying, hey, I'd work with this guy in the future as a trading role, not where he's actually in an administrative role. I would gladly have him as a trader. And that's because he made a lot of money. And the point is, these seasoned, experienced, well-practiced people that have been in the financial universe are not looking at this as an opportunity to get emotional and walk away from everything, but they're seeing it as an opportunity to get more invested, look for more opportunities. Holy cow, everything's sold off. Bitcoin is near the lows. This looks like the best time to actually get in, or for those that were already invested, the best time to double down, which is exactly what we see Cathie Wood's doing with her Grayscale Bitcoin Trust shares. And I know it's very trendy to say, well, look at the performance of her ETF. Obviously, Cathie Woods doesn't know what she's doing, but a lot of people saying those things don't understand the legalities involved with running an ETF. She has strict rules in her prospectus, meaning that even though she was putting out content saying that they thought the market was going to get bearish, she couldn't move into a massive cash position. She could only take 20% at any point in time, and she couldn't sell a technology to go to energy because her fund is supposed to be a technology ETF. Remember, a prospectus is a guideline for what they can invest with so that investors are always aware of what they are buying when they buy that product. You can't suddenly change what's in that product because then you're literally breaking the law, which means that even though Kathy probably knew that there would be a lot of pain for the ARK ETF, she isn't going to tell people to sell it because at the end of the day, a major part of her role at that company is as a salesperson and trying to bring more funds in or maintain the funds that they already have, which is something you should always keep in mind when you're listening to anyone within the financial world. Remember, what actually benefits them and how can that affect what they're saying to me right now? Like for me, my incentive is to get you to like and comment the video, maybe subscribe to the channel, and that's exactly why I'm going to tell you about this other opportunity with the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust that I think a lot of people are overlooking. You see, I don't think Kathy Woods is just buying this to double down on her convictions on Bitcoin. I think there's an interesting trade opportunity here for the fact that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is a trust, meaning that it trades at a different multiple than it would as an ETF. This means that it actually isn't representing the assets that the trust holds simply because of the product that it's enveloped in. So if we actually look at the stock price and we compare this to the other crypto companies that also exist on the index or ETFs, etc., it trades way lower. And if the legalities actually come through and the SEC allows this to be listed as an ETF, which they should, it's kind of like a no-brainer thing. Like, why hasn't this happened yet? This price action could easily give 40% returns, 60% returns overnight. And I think that's one of the major reasons why Kathy Woods went ahead and doubled down on this investment. Now, nothing is actually completely and utterly risk-free, and the contrarian view here would be that the government has no incentive to actually make any changes here in the legalities because they don't want the cryptocurrencies to actually become something that's valid and an actual competitor to the US dollar. Therefore, they're going to continue to ignore it and we won't see any major changes. I'm not fully bought into that, but I think it's worth adding because it is a part of the conversation. And another part of this story is who's the winners from all this. And we kind of touched on this last week, but that seems to be Coinbase. Coinbase seems to be winning over everyone that wants to be an institutional investor and get some exposure to crypto. Because remember, a lot of these institutions still can't outright buy Bitcoin and Ethereum for their clients, but they can buy Coinbase or Grayscale. And I'm with Kathy here. I mean, I was expecting Coinbase to appreciate more. It's unfortunate that all this happened, but if I liked the company before, now I can get it even cheaper. I mean, Warren Buffett style, right? It looks even more appealing to me. And lots of people will say, but Coinbase owns all these small coins, and you just said a lot of those are trash and gonna go to zero. Won't that hurt the company further? But I don't think all of these are trash. I just think that a large majority are. I'm still bullish on what will cause crypto to actually become mainstream, and that's NFTs. And I know a lot of you missed the video that I've done in the past on how the widespread adoption of crypto occurs and it becomes mainstream, but I'm gonna re-upload that video tomorrow with some minor changes and updates so that we can get a nice refresher on that as well. Now, let's also talk about the actual stock market and what's going on because we just had the FOMC minutes. And I'll be frank here, not a whole lot. And I tweeted on Twitter at the beginning of the week saying, watch out for the 390 level. If there's a significant break below 388, the market could have a significant plunge. Instead, we climbed a mountain of worry, which is typically what you see in bull rallies anyways, and the market seems like it wants to be headed towards our 200-day moving average, where I expect us to see some significant resistance. A break above that would bring some significant highs, and a denial of that would be right back into a bearish market trend. And if you remember in the Discord, we both shorted the SPY here. We played this uptrend as well, made some money. And then on the breakout of this, we used our Fibonacci levels to also pull out a small short into the close. For making for a pretty good day. All trades were profitable today. Love to see that. But I've also been pointing out that, hey, at this 400 level, this is when every time we touch this, I start to sell. And I have still been selling off a lot of my technology stocks that I think have appreciated enough and are likely to see new lows heading into next year. Remember, all that content is in the Discord if you want to view it there. And if you've been following the Discord as well, you remember this chart that we posted for UNG when it was back at $17, which has actually reached one of our target points, which I did take profits into, which was a great 26% for the shares and up to 300% for the options. Big win there as well. When it comes to the FOMC minutes, there was no real big surprises here. Again, this was more dovish than what we actually hear from the Fed members when they speak. it did have some comments about what's going on in China, and also a comment here about the Mississippi River system, which is now causing some new supply chain constraints and putting upward pressures on transportation costs and farm products, which to me gives some validation to the narrative that the Fed can't continue on the rate hike path it's on, because a lot of these issues will resolve themselves. And that's going to be it for this video. We got several videos loaded up. If you can tell on this one, I made some improvements to how these are formatted, how they look. Hopefully it is continuing to improve. There's a few more coming out. In the next video, I'll be talking about what's going on in China, and then we're also doing that video about passive investing versus active investing, and I think you're going to enjoy both of those. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right, do it now, do it, just do it, hit the button.